Everyone, I could not be more excited to share with you what I'm about to share with you today. Now, the main concept that we're going to talk about is the 5 levels of leadership. It's the 5 levels of leadership, but it really came from a question that people have been asking themselves. Now, you've heard of this concept from the Wizard of Oz of is it a good witch or a bad witch? A good witch or a bad witch? Well, there's also this concept in leadership of are you a good leader or a bad leader? And I'm so excited to talk to you about what we're going to talk about today because this is going to be a life changer. It will change your life and it'll change the lives of the people that work for you and work with you. Now, again, the main topic is the 5 levels of leadership because these levels are going to let you really know if you're a good leader or a bad leader. You're going to know what type of a leader you are based on what level of leadership that you're at. Now, I have to say before we begin that I'm a Maxwell Leadership Certified Team member. I'm not saying this to brag or to impress you, but if you heard these concepts before, if you heard this thought before, it's come from the John Maxwell. So a lot of what we're going to talk about today is directly from John Maxwell's book, The 5 Levels of Leadership. Now, before we get into what the 5 levels of leadership are, I want to introduce you to 3 different quote unquote leaders. And as we go through each one of these levels, I want you to think about where each one of these leaders would sit. So the first leader I want to introduce you to is Tim. Tim's a leader, and Tim's a frustrated leader. He's frustrated because he's really getting trouble or he's having trouble getting people to listen to him. He has to keep saying things like, hey, I'm the boss. I'm the boss, so you got to do this. He has to keep saying things like, hey, you got to do this. Corporate policy 6.2.3 says we need to do this. So that's Tim. As we're going through these laws, these 5 levels of leadership, think about where Tim would sit. Now I want you to meet Stephanie. Stephanie is a high performer. She gets things done. She gets things done all the time. The problem is that Stephanie is completely and totally burnt out. And unfortunately, her team is also burned out. And Stephanie is finding herself wondering, oh my God, why is there so much work? Why am I the one doing all the work? What's going on? And then lastly, you got Mario. Mario, you could see from the smile on his face, he's a happy guy. He loves his team. He loves his people. He knows their names. He knows their birthdays. In fact, he even spent some time mentoring and coaching them. And Mario truly loves the people on his team. Unlike Tim, the first person we talked about, he actually hates the people on his team. He can't figure out why they're so incompetent and why they can't get anything done. Mario, in many ways, is the flip side of Tim. So as we go through this, I want you to try and think about where do each one of these people sit on these 5 levels of leadership. So what are the 5 levels of leadership? Well, level 1 is called position. People follow you because they have to. Level 2 is called permission. People follow you because they want to. Level 3 is called productivity. People follow you because of what you've done for the organization. You get results. Level 4 is called people development. People follow you because of what you've done for them. And level 5, it's the place we all want to get to, and it's called the pinnacle. People follow you because of who you are and what you represent. In this world, you have the ultimate respect. Now, there's a problem. Some people would call it an opportunity. There's a problem that comes as we're looking at the staircase. And part of the problem is that people think in certain worlds that they can actually skip certain levels on the staircase. They think, you know what? I don't need to go look at level 1, 2, and 3. I'm just going to go to level 4. Well, that's a problem. Because each of these steps, they're like the foundation to the step above it. So if I go back to that picture, if you're really good at level 4, but you don't get results, you have no productivity, well, then you're on shaky ground. If you're really good at getting results, but people don't follow you because they want to, they follow you because they have to, well, guess what? The second you stop getting results, you're going to be on shaky ground. So, again, while you can move up the staircase, I highly recommend that you become really good at one level before you move to the next one. The second problem, possibly some people would call an opportunity, is that we are, all of us, myself included, we struggle with getting people to use their utmost potential at work. We struggle with it. And usually it's because of our leadership abilities. And really, this links back to the first law of leadership called the law of the lid, where an organization can never outgrow its leader. So we as leaders, in many ways, are capping the potential of our employees. So if you're looking at this picture, if we have a leader who's a level 2, the best his team is ever going to be is at 1. If you have a leader who's a 7 out of 10 leadership ability, now they can become a 6. And if we go back to this picture where a leader is a 2, if we're looking at this success and dedication, this area under the line, well, guess what? If I am a really bad leader and I just tell my team to work harder, just work harder. We're going to work harder. We're going to work smarter. We're going to follow the procedures. Well, maybe it gets them over here to a 10 in terms of success and dedication, but the area under that curve that line is still pretty small. Imagine if I didn't make them work any harder, if I didn't make them adhere to any more policies, but I just amplified my leadership and unlocked their potential. Now I've almost 6x'd their productivity just because of my leadership ability and me raising the bar and me putting another threshold on unlocking their potential. So once you see this, you cannot unsee it. You cannot unsee it. If you're thinking about your team and you're frustrated about how much work they're getting done or how much work they're not getting done, or even if you're thinking about yourself, well, this is the slide for you. So there's this thing called the contractual line of fire, and employees will work to that contractual line of fire so that they don't get fired. They do just enough work where they're not going to get fired. And that is putting a cap on their potential. Now, they could be doing that just because they're lazy. Hey, I'm lazy. I'm going to do the bare minimum. And guess what? You can't fire me because I'm not breaking any contractual agreements. But it also could be that they have so much more to offer, but they're scared. They're scared of going too far. They're scared of looking too contrarian. They're scared of looking bad. They're scared of making their boss look bad. Or maybe their boss has put too many restrictions on their work and they're a micromanager. So that's capping their potential and it's capping their productivity. And what's lost is opportunity. We lose all of this opportunity. And if I go back to that last picture with this contractual line of fire, what we've heard in some Gallup studies is that 30 people using only 35% of their potential at work. That's less than, you hire someone, you get less than half of them every single day at work. And the truth is, if people are at this 35% contractual line of fire, no one's happy. The employee's not happy because they don't feel fulfilled at work. They don't have purpose in their life. They're not happy. The employer's not happy because they're not even getting 50% of the capacity of the people that they have. And guess what? This energy is going somewhere. It's going somewhere. That employee, they're not just capping it here. They're going to have some energy and they're going to use it somewhere. Either they're going to do it outside of work, or maybe worse, they do it inside of work and they're at the water cool or the holiday party talking badly about you, the leader. So this energy is going somewhere. So if you're taking things from this, as you move up the staircase, we want to continue to unlock the potential of our people and continue to raise this contractual line of fire. Because when they're really low, when those people are really low, they're basically like corporate zombies. They're just zombies. They're alive. They're going to work. They're punching the clock, but they're really dead. They're already dead. They're not giving you everything they got. They're not really alive. They're just doing it because they have to do it. And it is my thought that you as a leader, this is my purpose in life. I don't know if it's yours, but as a leader, my thought is that you have to unlock the potential of each person that you have in your organization. not only for your organization, but for them so that they can live a better life. Imagine a wet towel, and you are wringing the water out of that towel. Well, that's the same way I look at it with potential. I want to get every last bit of potential out of my people. Again, not just for the organization, but for them, so that everybody wins. And you can turn that zombie into a superhero. So here we go. Here we go. Now, there's a couple of warnings before we get too deep. A couple of warnings. Warning number one, there are some things that this presentation is not going to be. The first thing is not going to be is a career path plan. I'm not going to talk about how to get you to become an executive vice president of a giant company or to become a head football coach. No, this is not about that. The second thing is this is not about navigating office politics. How do I finagle my way through different scenarios at work so that it can appear that people like me even when I don't want them to? And number three is we're not about manipulating or leveraging other people. We're not. This is not what we do. It's not what we do. Will a lot of this help your career? Absolutely. Will it make navigating office politics better? Absolutely. Will it help pull the potential out of everybody else? Absolutely. But it's really side benefits of it that are going to help the people and help the organization. The second warning, and this is for the math people out there. This is the second warning for the math people out there. A lot of what we're looking at is going to be contextual. A lot of what we're looking at is going to be the world according to George Mahoney and my experience and anecdotal evidence and studies that I've done. But some of the numbers that I'm going to show you, you'll be really hard pressed to find hard and fast research studies showing, hey, George said this number and I can't find a research study that backs it up. I'm telling you based on my experience. If you don't believe me or you don't trust me, well, then you probably shouldn't go any further than this to begin with. Now, look, I'm a data nerd. I fully believe in what Deming said here. In God we trust. All others bring data. I would consider myself to be a data scientist in many ways. So there's going to be ways that I'm going to try to quantify things during this meeting. But again, it's based on me and my experiences. It's based on my knowledge, based on real world examples. But I can't verify this yet, at least at this point in my life. I don't have enough data yet to say, ooh, there's 10 case studies that will also prove this as well. So take it for what it's worth. Take it for what it's worth and what it means to you. And I think as long as we're directionally going in the same place, then we're okay. If the numbers are off by 5 or 10%, does it really matter? Will your team or your people not be as good as they should be if you're following all the steps because we're off by 5 or 10%? I'll let you decide. I'll let you decide. But this kind of does remind me from that scene from Tommy Boy, the scene from Tommy Boy where, they're trying to sell these auto parts and the guy in the warehouse says, listen, there's no guarantee on the box. And essentially the saying is, I can put a guarantee on the box, but it doesn't guarantee anything. So even the numbers I've given you from my own life, they might not guarantee anything for you because possibly you need to deal with it in your own experience, in your own industry, in your own way. So I'm going to try and quantify things again because I am a data scientist, but you might be hard pressed to find some studies to validate what I'm saying unless you dive in yourself and do some case studies on your own. Now, there's some guiding principles before we start in case you're thinking, hey, we're just trying to manipulate people. We're trying to trick people. No, that's not what we do here. The first guiding principle is that we value people. We see value in people so we know they can get better. If you don't value people, well, then there's no way they're going to move up those levels of leadership. Number two is our goal is to create more leaders, not followers. So as you move up that staircase, I don't want more followers. I want to be developing more leaders. And number three is when people come to you with questions, don't tell them the answer. Ask them questions because they have the answer inside of it. Let them own it. Let them own it. And lastly, before we get into those 5 levels of leadership, this is a mantra that you should put on your wall, hang it in your office, by your computer, anywhere it's important to you. I'm a person of value who values people and brings value to them. I'll say that again. I'm a person of value who values people and brings value to them. If you don't value people, well, then you're going to try and manipulate them. So the things we're going to teach you today are not about manipulating or tricking people. It's not about you. It's about valuing people and bringing value to them. But you can't give what you don't have. You can't give what you don't have. So this is why that first sentence is so critical to recognize that you're a person of value and you're taking the time to watch this to make yourself a better leader. Okay, we're going into level 1 right now. We're going into level 1. Remember, level 1 is position. People follow you because they have to. It's your right. I have a position. It's my right to have people follow me. And again, we're going to get into some of the data, but at least in my best estimate, when you're a level 1 leader, you're probably getting about 20% of a person's potential every day at work. That's awful. It's awful. So if I have 5 FTEs working for me, I basically really have 1 FTE working for me because 80% of their day is not involving them using the most of their potential or their productivity. The bar is set low. So a question for you is, how do you know if you're a level 1 leader? What you should do right now is maybe grab a pen, grab a paper, and think about the questions I'm about to ask to help you know if you're a level 1 leader or not. And the way we're going to do this is you're going to simply ask yourself or answer it yes or no based on the question that I'm asking. So question number 1, would you consider more than 50% of your team members as subordinates as opposed to team members? I'll say that again. Would you consider more than 50% of your team members as subordinates as opposed to team members? Answer yes or no. Question 2, more than 2 times per week, do you have to control people through rules, regulations, policies, and org charts? Answer yes or no. Question 3, in the past week, have you struggled to get more than 25% of your people to work beyond their bare minimum job requirements? And you'll notice in the past week, because this stuff needs to be current. It can't be like, yes, 6 years ago, my team worked above and beyond on a special project. Well, that was great. That was 6 years ago. What's happening now? What's happening consistently? Last question. In the last 2 weeks, did you need to remind people of your title in order to get things done? Remember, everything was a yes or a no. So add up your yeses. If you have 0 yeses, guess what? You're good. You're not a level 1 leader. We can go to level 2. If you're at 3 to 4, you're here. You got to work on something. You got to work on something to get yourself out of this hole. Now, before we leave this call, we'll talk about actual specific modeled ways that we can get you from one level to the next, but we're not there yet. And as we're thinking about who those 3 leaders were in the beginning, if you had to guess which one of these was a level 1 leader, who would it be? Well, if you said Tim, you're right. Tim was the one reminding people of his title. Tim was the one who had to refer to org policies to get things done. That was Tim. Let's go now to level 2. Level 2. In level 2, we're at the permission level. People follow you because they want to. So instead of saying, hey, Tim, I'll follow you because you're my boss and I have to follow you because you're the boss, now they might say, Tim, he's a good guy. Like, he remembers my birthday. He knows my hopes and dreams. I liked him. I'm going to follow him. I'm going to follow him because I want to, not because I have to. And here again, based on my best estimate, now you're starting to pull about 40% of the potential out of people. You raise that bar and they can give you more of their potential because they like you and they want to work with you versus have to work with you. So again, how would you know if you're here? Well, we're going to do the same exact thing with yes or no questions. So grab your pen and your paper. Here we go. Question 1, are you unaware of more than 25% of your team members' hopes and dreams? Does it even matter to you? Question 2, do you struggle to earn the trust of more than 25% of your team members? If you don't know what trust is, there is this really awesome equation that talks about trust. It's credibility plus reliability plus intimacy divided by self-orientation. Credibility is, do they know their stuff? Let's take it as a football coach. It's the easiest world for me because I'm also a football coach. So credibility is, does this guy, George Mahoney, know anything about football? Yes. Awesome. He's credible. Reliability is, do they show up and deliver? Well, maybe George knows about football, but he doesn't come to practice. Well, that's not good. He's not reliable. Now let's say I am reliable. Okay, George is credible. George is reliable. What about intimacy? Do the kids like him? No, they hate Coach Mahoney's guts. Okay, that's bad. But let's say they do like me. They do like me. Now it's okay. What about his self orientation? Is he putting his needs above that of the team? That is telling you if you are trustworthy or not. Okay, we're going to keep going. We're going to keep going. Next question. Are you unaware of more than 30% of your team members' personality traits and strengths? People who have been coached by me or coaching with me, they know one of the ways to do that is by looking at your DISC assessment. If you haven't done a DISC assessment or some assessment like this one, I highly recommend you do it. It gives you the blueprint behind people, what they're good at, what their personality traits are, how they want to be communicated with. It's a cheat code. And again, we're not trying to manipulate people. It's just a way to help them. We value people. And the last question is, do you possibly even hate more than 10% of the people who work for you? Add your yeses together. If you're at a 3 or a 4, you're here. You're a level 2. You're not ready for level 3. If you had 0 yeses, you've mastered this level and you can proceed to the next level. Now, there's a quote. If you're not looking at your screen, I'll read it to you. Needless to say, you can love people without leading them, but you cannot lead people without loving them. So if you're thinking about level 2, what's the foundation of level 2? It's really that you need to love your people. You got to love your team. Otherwise, you can't lead them. If you hate your team like Tim does, well, then you're not going to be an effective leader. You can't be. You'll be capped at level 1. Now, as we go back to the 3 people that we were talking about, you had to guess who's a level 2 leader. If you guessed Mario, you are right. He loves his team. He knows about their strengths, their weaknesses, their hopes, their dreams, possibly even their birthdays and their kids' names. Okay, we're going to go now to level 3. Level 3. In level 3, we talk about productivity. People follow you because of what you've done for the organization. Results. Wow, let's talk about Tim again. We'll use Tim's name again. We'll just keep using it. You know what? Tim gets stuff done. Tim gets stuff done. The guy's a winner. I want to be on Tim's team. Great. So here we go. At level 3, now you're getting about 60% of the potential of your people. You have momentum. You're winning and winning and winning, and people want to keep doing and doing and doing. They want to do it because we're winning. We're getting results. So again, we're going to ask ourselves some yes or no questions to figure out where we sit on the staircase. Question number 1, in the last 2 weeks, has your team had more than 1 missed deadline, a rework request, or a repeat customer complaint? More than 1 in total. And by the way, it's in the last 2 weeks. It can't be 6 years ago. Question 2, does more than 20% of your team feel overworked or overwhelmed? Question 3, is the turnover rate of your organization greater than 20%? Question 4, does your team routinely miss more than 25% of its goals and targets? And question 5, in the past month, have you been sought out as an expert in your field less than 4 times? The past month, have you been sought out as an expert in your field less than 4 times? If it was 6 years ago, well, then you may not be an SME anymore. Now, this section had 5 questions, not 4, because I believe that production is one of, if not the most important step on this leadership staircase. If we go back to that picture of production, it's because production actually helps you get new positions. The more you produce, you might get a different / better job. So production will help you get new positions. And production serves as a great foundation to the steps above it, because when you're winning, it's so much easier to move up the staircase. It makes everything so much better. It gives you that momentum that you need. And momentum is a leader's best friend. And as we talk about level 3, there's a key difference between a travel agent leader and a tour guide leader. A travel agent leader tells people to go places they've never been. If I go to a travel agent and say, listen, I want to go to the Dominican Republic. Can you tell me the 5 best hotels there? That travel agent may say, absolutely. I looked it up. These are the 5 best hotels. This is the feedback that I got from people who went there. It's awesome. Hey, Mr. Travel Agent, have you ever been there? No, I haven't. Okay, well, then you're a travel agent leader. A tour guide leader is someone who's not only been there, they're going to say, listen, I'm going to take you to places that you've never been. Let's go together and I'm going to show you all this stuff that you've never seen before. So if you're really thinking, am I a travel agent leader or a tour guide leader? That's where you got to start to think, have I done this before? Or am I trying to tell people to do things they've never done? Now, when we look at our three leaders, I was asking you to guess which one would be at level 3. What I want you to think about is maybe someone's stuck in the middle of level 3. They're stuck in the middle of level 3. And that person would be Stephanie. So Stephanie, yeah, right now she's got her team humming. They're getting results, but she's kind of burnt out. The team's kind of burnt out. It's results, results, results. But how long can you operate in this manner before everybody seems overworked or overwhelmed? Okay, we're going to keep going. We're going to keep going here. And by the way, imagine if this Stephanie, she's really good at getting results, but she never actually got the relationships with her people. They didn't follow her because they wanted to. They still followed her because they had to, but she's great at getting results. Well, it's going to make it so much harder to get results because they're never going to go above the bare minimum to get things done that they need to do. So once again, this is why it's so important to climb this staircase methodically, which now takes us to level 4, the people development side. People follow you because what you've done for them. Maybe you've introduced them to someone they needed to know. Maybe you've got them in courses or classes that they needed to take. Maybe you've mentored or coached that person to just become a better person. Maybe they're becoming a better leader. They're becoming better at their skills or their crafts, but you're doing things to make people better. And here, when you're fully at that peak of level 4, this is where you're at the 80% threshold. About 80%, it could be 75, but again, we're going up. We're moving this bar up. We're moving this bar up. So how do you know if you're a level 4 leader or not? And this, at least in my experience, is where most people who work with me they either think they're there or they're getting stuck there. At least most people that work with me, as they view themselves. So here we go. Answer yes or no to these questions. Question 1. In the past week, have you spent less than 2 hours recruiting leaders to mentor and coach? Yeah, if you're only focused on results, you might not have time to do this, or at least you don't think you do. Question 2, can you name more than 5 qualities you are looking for when choosing an emerging leader to mentor? Do you even know what you're looking for? If you're not, you're just kind of like throwing arrows at a dartboard in the dark. Question 3, in the past month, have you had to force your team/team members to work well with each other? Question 4, in the past month, have you delegated work to more than one person without equipping them with the right tools, coaching, and/or training? And by the way, if you think you're like developing someone by just throwing them in the worst possible situation or delegating work to them that you just don't want to do without coaching them or mentoring them along the way, well, then you're really not a level 4 leader. So again, you're going to add your yeses together. If you gave yourself a 0, good. You're now ready for the next level. Now you're ready for this next level. If it's 3 to 4 to 5, you're stuck. You're stuck in this level. But you really can't be a level 4 leader if you aren't doing anything for anyone else. So if you think you're a level 4 leader and you are not doing anything for anybody else, well, then now you need to really think again and take a long look in the mirror. And you know you're there when somebody tells you, you really changed my life. When they genuinely mean it. Hey, thank you so much. You've really changed my life. Now you're a level 4 leader. Level 3 leader, you might help them get results, but they might also be burned out. Here, you're building the complete version of them. Now, as we look back at these 3 people, you might probably guess if we had to say if one of these was a level 4 leader, who would it be? And the best shot at that is Mario. I told you, Mario, he loves his people. He knows his birthdays. He knows their strengths, but he was also doing things to coach and develop them. Now, a risk that Mario could have is if he's a level 4 leader and a level 2 leader, but he's not getting results, Well, now, once again, he's on shaky ground. Sooner or later, people are going to say, why should I follow this Mario? He's never done anything. He has no results. He's a travel agent leader. I can't follow him. So remember, once again, I've said it a bunch, I'll say it again, is that you have to build the staircase with the good foundation underneath it. Which now takes us to level 5, the pinnacle, where we all want to be. It might take an entire lifetime to get here, an entire lifetime to get to this pinnacle. And at this level, it's earned. Nobody's giving you this. Nobody's slapping you on the back and say, hey, you're a level 5 leader. Level 1, somebody gave it to you. They gave you a position. They gave you a title. It might be a head basketball coach. It might be a vice president title. Somebody gave you that title. It could be president of the United States. Somebody somewhere gave you a title. But in this is earned. You earn this level. And here, this is where you are wringing all the water out of that talent. You're getting everything out of everyone. This is why it's so hard to do. It's so hard to get here. It takes a lifetime to get here. And it's really not the end of a journey. Once you get here, it's not over. It's a process to stay there. It's a process because now you're developing other leaders. So how do you know if you're here? Now, before, it was like no was the good answer. Here, yes is the good answer. Everything else before, if you said no, you were good. Here, yes is the good answer. So here we go. Do you spend more than 50% of your time developing leaders of other leaders? Level 4, you're developing people. Level 5, you're developing leaders of other leaders. Question 2, is your leadership being requested outside of your department or company at least one time per week? Question 3, are you using your resources and influences for causes greater than yourself or your organization? And question 4, do you meet with an inner circle of at least 3 people? Now, I might even call that a triangle, right? But you can't have an inner circle if it's one person. That's like a good friend. You need a decent amount of people. I would say a minimum is 3, a minimum of 3, because you want differing ideas, you want different thoughts. And are you meeting with them at least 2 times per month? Now, look, can you say it's 1.5 times per month? It doesn't matter if it's 1 time or 3 times, but you want to meet with them regularly enough. It can't be once a quarter. It can't be once a year, because you're not getting enough feedback from the people in a timely manner. And are they able to speak hard truths to you? Do you encourage it? There's a lot to this. If you say it's lonely being the leader, well, it's probably your fault because you haven't brought in this inner circle. And nobody's perfect. You need people that you can rely on to bring into your inner circle. If you've given yourself a 0 to 1 yes, well, you're not in this level 5. If you've given yourself 3 to 4 yeses, then you are level 5. You're at the pinnacle. You're at the pinnacle, but it doesn't mean your work is done. You got to keep doing, or you're going to fall back down that staircase. So what you should be doing is thinking about what actions you can take. What actions can I take from learning this? Information without action is useless. It's absolutely useless. So if you really want to know where you sit on the staircase, what you should be doing is going beyond just these yes or no questions. We did this today. It was just a way to get you to think about where you really are and reflect. But there's a much more in-depth way to do this. So on my website, I actually have 50 different questions. If you're looking at my screen, you can see the level of depth of each question. It's no longer yes or no. And you can take this assessment on yourself, and then we can work together to find out what level this puts you at. It'll probably take you 10 minutes to do. It'll probably take you 10 minutes to do. Now, how do you get to this website and this assessment? On my screen right now, I'm showing a QR code. I'll give you a couple seconds to flash over it. But this will take you right to the assessment. Pick your phone up, put it on it, go right to that assessment, and you can take it within 10 minutes. You can take it, boom, done, easy. Simple. It's simple. And a lot of times what I'm seeing is that people will take the assessment and it will tell them, ooh, I think I'm here. Maybe it's level 3, maybe it's level 2. It doesn't matter. But you take the assessment and it helps you think about, helps you reflect on where you think you are right now. Where do I think I am right now? And then you can figure out where you want to be. And together, we can build a plan to get you where you want to be. And also know that this really isn't about me. It's about you being the hero of the story. You're the hero here because you're the one who's going to help unlock the potential of the people that you have and give them a better day at work and make them love their work. And oh, by the way, make your company, your organization, your team, whatever it is, awesome. You're going to take them out of whatever hole they're in. So again, you might think you're here, you want to be there. Well, the assessment's going to help us develop a personalized plan for you, where you're at, where you want to be, what industry you're in, what work environment you're in. It's got to be individualized based on what you know. This is literally just step one. Now, to take this to a new level, we also have an assessment for your team to take on you because you might think you're a level 3, but they think you're a level 1. It could be a hard truth that you need to hear. There's some times I've done this where people have thought I'm a level 5. Their team didn't think the same thing. Team did not think the same thing. Now, there's one important note is that you're not going to be at the same level with every person in your organization. You're not. You might not have the same working relationship with them. You might be a level 1 with one person and a level 4 with another person. So you might not have the same working relationship. You might have the same personal relationship, or maybe that person's just not ready. Maybe they're in their own state of mind and they're not ready to learn or be influenced by you. So as you have your people take this, I would say to get a good enough sample size, it's not just one person, maybe it's, I'd say a minimum 3 to 4. If you only have a team of 2, well, then have them both take it, but don't just do just one because you don't know where you sit with that one person. You got to see it from multiple angles. And when they take this, it can be anonymous. There's going to be a check mark if they want it anonymous or not. But really what we're trying to do is help close these gaps. My team thinks I'm here. How do we get there? Then once we figure out how you're there, then we can figure out how you get where you want to be. So we want to close the first gap between you and your team, and then the next gap between where you are and where you want to be. What you're looking at here is an example of items that we could use to move somebody to a level 2. They're just tools in the toolbox. So that each one of those steps has tools in the toolbox. We can pull out of those tools the things that we need. So imagine you're really bad at relationships. Well, of course, we have on 25 Ways to Win with People is going to help you build relationships with people. We're not going to manipulate them. We're not going to use them, but it's a way to help you win with people. I said it before. I'll say it again. You got to take action. If you just listen to this and you do nothing with it, well, then you just wasted, I don't know, half hour, 45 minutes of your time. Go take action. And maybe you're not ready to change. But this is a great quote from John Maxwell. And if you're not ready to change, then don't do it. But if you feel like you need change, if you're frustrated with your people, why aren't they getting enough done? If you're burnt out, why am I so tired? Why are my people so tired? How come I'm doing all the work? How come I'm the only one developing people around here? How come we're never meeting our deadlines? How come I don't feel fulfilled? How come I have all these escalations from my team? How come they're unhappy? How come I'm getting all these complaints? Well, this is the time to do it. Go and do. So you either have to hurt enough that you got to do it. Maybe you've seen enough that you're inspired to do it. Maybe today you learned enough that you want to do it. Or maybe you got enough information or enough tools that you're able to do it. But these would be the keys to change. If you're not going to do it, either your life is awesome, you're in denial, or you've just given up. It's one of those 3 things. It's one of those 3 things. And I couldn't imagine that anyone who's taken the time to listen to this is actually in that spot. I'd also say, if you're going to do it, go do it right now. Don't say, I'll take that assessment tomorrow. No, you won't. I'll take that assessment after dinner tonight. No, you won't. The longer you wait, as per the law of diminishing intent, the longer you wait, the less likely you are to do it. Go, if you're listening to this in your car, go park your car somewhere safe. Go take the assessment. If you're watching it at work during lunch, stop the video right now. Take the assessment right now. Go take it. Because the longer you wait, the less likelihood you're going to have to do it. You're going to get busy. You're going to do something else. And then boom, you're going to be stuck with frustrated employees. You're going to be overworked. You're going to be the only one doing everything. You're going to have a bunch of sleepwalkers working for you. And you're going to be wondering, why can't we win? So I'm going to put this up again. I'll put this QR code up again. Scan it. Go take the assessment. And I will contact you immediately after that so we can set up time to talk about your results. With that, we are done. My recommendation again to you is go and do. Go and do. Go take yourself to the next level of leadership.